What's going on, guys? It's Dan here. Welcome to another episode of the DanQ Review. Today we are talking about the Testament of Sherlock Holmes. I guess this is a long-running series. To be honest, I never really followed these games from this developer anyway, and it was pretty big at E3, so I decided to take a look at it, mainly due to a request from you guys. But before we get into that, let's go to the summary here. Testament of Sherlock Holmes is available on PS3, Xbox 360, and the PC. It is an open-world adventure, like detective style. It's developed by Frogwares, and in North America at least, published by Atlas. So a lot of people know about Atlas, and they're pretty critically acclaimed. So that usually helps out a bit, but publishing isn't so much anything about developing anyway. But all right, let's talk about this. A game that, okay, to be honest, not many people even looked at this game. Like, they saw it, yeah, they're like, oh, that's pretty neat, but they never actually did. I was like one of the only people to actually buy and complete this game and post it to YouTube. It's kind of funny, actually. The only other, I think I'm the only person in North America who did it, because I've seen other ones, but they were all from Europe and, you know, England, things like that. So it was kind of funny, but, you know, I'm going to give you my 2 cents here. Let's see, okay, you know what, it's very mixed. It's a mixed bag for me, this game. Okay, let's start off first. Okay, what's good about it? The fact that, you know, I've always been a fan of the detective style, you know, like, using clues to kind of put events together, and the best choice obviously will help you solve that case. And that's one of these things. That's the same thing like Heavy Rain, not Heavy Rain, L.A. Noire. Sorry, my bad, I flipped them up. I don't know why I said that. L.A. Noire was very similar in that sense. You know, you found the clues, you worked together, and it depends on, you know, what choices you make or whatever, that it'll, like, you'll solve the case. Now, one of the biggest things I liked about this is basically that, you know, you find these clues throughout wherever you're looking. Like, say for example, one of the murders there was this murder of this bishop. Happens early in the game, not a spoiler, calm down. And you basically have to look around for clues like who killed him, like, right? Well, obviously. And, you know, you could see things like, okay, the murderers were, there's 3 different sets of shoes that were at the scene by analyzing these footprints. But, you know, okay, you noticed that someone came in with a certain pair and they left wearing a different pair. Like, it was really cool, and then you had deductions. And basically, once you questioned certain people, or you found like these clues to help you decipher what exactly happened, you basically have to process what exactly happened in that category. So, for example, I found, okay, the shoe prints. It'll say, okay, the shoe prints, it'll give you selective options that makes the most sense. You pick the one that makes the most sense. So, like, okay, the shoe print, some of them actually were pretty funny. What was one? There were 4 murderers, there were 3 murderers, 1 murderer came in wearing a different set of shoes and left with another one, and another murderer, all the murderers were hopping on one leg. It was really funny, and you had to pick those, and basically Sherlock Holmes would tell you when you were right by, you know, basically checking it off and putting it in green. That makes sense, that's what it's about. That part was one of my favorite parts of the game, you know, just like analyzing, trying to figure out the deductions. Especially this one deduction sequence where you basically had to retrace one of the suspect's steps and where he went in the room before you arrived. It was really interesting. You're like, okay, first thing he did was this, second thing, etc., etc. And when you find it out, you're like, damn, that's so clever. That's really interesting. That was my favorite part, the deductions, the using the clues to kind of, you know, process them and make the best choice accordingly. Another thing I really liked about this game, now a lot of you may not seem that way if you watched my run through of the game, was there were a lot of puzzles in this game, and I'm not just talking about little tiny puzzles here and there. They were challenging puzzles, and the thing is, if you get a game like this and it's based around puzzles, that's what you want. You don't want to have like an easy, like, okay, you know what, this is dumb. I don't want to play this game anymore, this puzzle's too hard. No, you get a game like this, you want the challenge. Myself, I'm not always so good at puzzles, and I may have cheated a few times in this game by using the hints or whatever, but I can't say, okay, this game is crap just because it has challenging puzzles. That's the whole point. Just because I didn't do so well on the puzzles doesn't mean I thought they were really interesting. They really made you think, and they really made the game that much better in that sense. So I thought that was one of the cooler parts. The puzzles, there's a lot of work in them. They're really clever, and you're going to have, if you love your puzzles, you're definitely going to like the puzzles in this game, hands down. Okay, now that's pretty much okay, let's just say one more thing. The story for this game is pretty crazy. Okay, there are certain points, and you're left there like in awe, like what happened there? Are you kidding me? Like, just crazy reactions. You just like feel, you're like, what the hell? Very similar to some like you develop the relationships with these characters, and then you're just hit with something else and completely. Right, and that's basically the climax of the story. Okay, it was a really solid up to that. Now I want to put that as a positive because it was really, really great in terms of that. Okay, now we've covered the positives. Let's move on to the negatives. And honest to God, why did I leave it up to the climax of the story? Well, after the climax and you realize what actually happened, and you proceed towards the end of the game, it's boring. Honest to God, there's like nothing interesting that really happens. You do figure things out, like who's behind it and all, but big whoop, there's like, I mean, you can't really have a boss fight per se, but you don't feel like you get the justice that you really wanted to at the end of the game. I'm like, that was kind of an abrupt end. I understand how it happened, I understand why, and I understand what was done, and why the ending was the way it was, but I just didn't think it was enough, and they could have done way more. And it started getting way stale, like way too stale for my taste as it went along. And those last few levels, like after this one climactic event that I was telling you guys about, that right after that, I was just kind of snoozing my way through this game, which is really unfortunate because it was good up till then, in the story sense. So the ending and the last like, because you have like, I don't know if you guys know anything about in school they teach you the story progression. You got you got rising action, denouement, falling action, all that crap. I don't remember the order anymore because I've been done with school for a while. But anyways, you understand that whole premise. Basically, falling action, just falling action. There's no denouement, there's no ending, there's no real resolve, at least from my standpoint. So just done. That's it. So that's my whole thing with the end of the story. The first bit right up to the climax was like really good, really, really interesting. You're like in shock, but then afterwards, you're done. It's that was stupid. I felt like, wow, why did I waste my time getting all excited and freaking out for this climax when all of a sudden, it's done. So unfortunately, the story was kind of bad towards the ending, just the way they ended it and put it away. Okay, another reason, this game, oh my God, there's a lot of stuff I just want to beat it up for. Okay, number one, not the biggest point of the game, to be honest with you, because I know it's never the case. And I'm talking about graphics. Now, graphics don't make the game, which is good, not good, which obviously there's no real point to review it that way, but I think it does, just because this game looks like it could have been done for the PlayStation 2 or the original Xbox. It's got that graphical feel to it. Like not just the graphics though. It's quite choppy. I encountered a bug in the very first level. I don't know if you guys remember that, but once I finished my little tutorial case or whatever, I came back to Holmes's apartment, and in that apartment it was nothing but white, and I couldn't see anything. Like, you couldn't move out, you couldn't do anything, and I even reset the console. I did all this stuff until eventually refreshed the colors and the textures of the room. But for some reason, I encountered a lot of bugs like that. Like, that was kind of a game ender, because you couldn't talk to Watson like you were supposed to without it, and that thing just got in the way. I was like, what? Are you serious already? Things like that. Now that I can overlook. All that stuff I can overlook. The graphics and a few game bugs. One of the most annoying things about this game, and honestly you will be frustrated as hell when you're doing it, the movement, like the character control and movement is so horrible. Like, I'm talking, this is like the worst thing I've ever done. Or ever played in terms of a character control. For example, you could be walking forward, right? Sometimes for some bizarre reason, Buddy will all of a sudden just go, whoa, and then spin around again, and he's just going everywhere. You're just like, no, I want to go in the door. And you try and aim for the door, and he turns to the other way again. And when you say you get to this said door, you open the door, he won't walk through it. Like, you're holding up on your direction, or on your toggle, and he's just standing there, and you're trying to get him to go, and he's basically trying to squeeze his fat ass through the door, so you have to back up and then walk through, because it's the way the motion is set, how they program that. It's so bad. Like, honest to God, like when you're trying to reach a clue sometimes, and you can't because it's in a weird place, and he'll turn around and go somewhere else. You're like, what the hell are you doing? It was just the most annoying control scheme, and I'm not talking about once or twice. The entire game was like that. Horrible programming in terms of the control, the response from the controller, the feel of it. Once you got going, obviously it wasn't too bad. You kind of got used to the controls, but even then, like, you're just trying to get into this damn doorway and you can't do it, And especially if you were on a time limit. There were time limit segments and you had to reach a certain thing before the time ran out, or obviously you'd fail. And, when you're running into these little things, you just can't reach it. You're just done with the game. At least that's how I felt. So, there really isn't too much to say about this game. Longevity, it's pretty long, but the problem with this is, because it's longer, you get kind of tired of it. To be honest with you, because of all these problems, you get tired of the game, and you just don't feel like you want to play it anymore. Just because honestly, that one movement thing, the movement was the biggest thing for me. I was so done, man. I lost it so many times because of this. And, you're trying to just move a simple action, and he's just basically, he needs to be checked into the mental institution here, It's so irritating. So, I don't really have anything else to say more about this game. In terms of a summary, though, let's just look back, The game is really entertaining up to the point where you reach that climactic event, really interesting. The whole searching for clues and applying them to find the best course, to decipher what really happened using deduction, that was really awesome. That was one of my favorite aspects of the game. And as well, there was something else in there, but I can't remember. But other than that, though, you have things like, once you hit the climax, you're bored, right? You're done with the game. Horrible control, honest to God, the worst I've ever seen, one of the worst I've ever seen in any game. Trying to maneuver something so simple and it's so tough to do, and it just makes the game almost unplayable. You know what I mean? Just little things like that. The outdated graphics just doesn't make your viewing experience, the glitches too. It just doesn't make the game experience worth it. It just seems like it's could have been better. Obviously, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, this game was dropped. This game was originally going to be a full retail $60 release. However, Atlas decided to drop it to a $40. So this was only a $40 game. But even so, I think they should have made it $30, because the way it was, there's no replayability really, no replay value, replayability is not even a word, replay value at all in this game. I mean, yeah, you could redo it and try different difficulties and try doing different puzzles, actually trying to really work through the puzzles. But other than that, say for example, if you wanted to just get all the trophies or achievements, okay, let's just look at it from that standpoint. You could potentially get all the trophies or achievements on the first run through by playing it on the hardest difficulty, getting actually, I don't even think there's a trophy or achievement for playing it on the hardest difficulty. I didn't look into it because I didn't really care. But you get a trophy or achievement for every time you actually solve a puzzle on your own without hints or anything like that. So if you knew what you were doing with the puzzle, you could just do that and you pretty much have everything, and there's really no reason to play it again. So unfortunately, the replay value is really low in this game, and because of even if it was high, you wouldn't want to, just because of all the little things that make it unbearable, just about. So, Testament of Sherlock Holmes, I was caught between what to rate this thing. It was entertaining, but I felt like it was kind of a chore to play it at a lot of times, and it's really unfortunate when you say that, because they try to put so much work into these games. They give them such a huge feature, they just push them out in E3, they give it this crazy hype, and you're given this. So I still don't know what I'm going to rate it. I was caught between two, but I've decided I'm going to give Testament of Sherlock Holmes a 5.5 out of 10. Originally going to give it a 6, but you know what? The more I thought about it, the more I know it doesn't deserve that. It's run-of-the-mill. It's pretty average game. Obviously, if you like detective games, you like the puzzles. That's a main thing for you. You love the puzzles that really make you scratch your head. Obviously, I'd pick this up because it is a lower price. It's $40. I guess if you're achievement trophy or easy trophies, easy achievements. First run through, barely trying. I got, I think, 70% of them all. Just so you guys know. That's another bonus to get it. But otherwise, if you're looking for a solid story, an overall package, you really love your games for the game content, probably give this one a pass just because of the way it is. I don't know. I'll never play this game again. I know that for sure. Even if you give a DLC for it, I wouldn't buy it, for sure, because this game isn't even worth it. So that's it for this episode of the DanQ review. I hope this allowed you guys to get an idea for this game, because a lot of people didn't know, because nobody played it. No one really reviewed it. There's not even many reviews on the game. So I hope this gave you an idea of what the game's like. If you didn't watch my my walkthrough of it, you can at least see, okay, you know what, Testament of Sherlock Holmes, I like detectives, but if what Dan's saying is true, if you don't believe me, you can go check out my walkthrough of it so you can see what it's more, you know, what the kind of things I was experiencing, you know, that made it this way. So thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed this review. I'll see you guys soon for more gameplay. So thanks again. Take it easy, and I'll see you guys next time.